What is going on, everybody? I'm Chris Dailey,
I'm Lucas Francis.
and this is the FC Monmouth podcast. And today is take two of a very special podcast that we are running with none other than General Manager James Davis, the man behind everything at FC Monmouth. So, James, thanks so much for joining, and we're really excited to have you on today.
Yeah, happy to be here. Take two. Let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. It's always better the second time. So, yeah, without further ado, can we just jump into your background in soccer? Of course, you played with your dad growing up, and then how did that translate into getting into FC Monmouth and the sports management side of things?
Yeah. Gosh, I don't even know where to start with this one, but basically, I could just go over the transitioning into sort of FC Monmouth. So the club really started just from a bunch of guys playing soccer at Sickles Park, right down the road from Count Basie Park. It's a small little grass field. They would use lacrosse nets for whoever's been there before. So it's really grown. I think the Facebook page that runs kind of like the adult pickup now has like over 500 people on it. So it's grown to be massive from what it was years and years ago. But basically, when I was little, every once in a while, my dad would bring me. I was probably 13 at the time, just to come and get thrown around by the big guys once in a while to compete a little bit. But um, yeah, so I mean the owners are involved in that. So I was a freshman in college, and I was just I wanted to work in soccer. I mean, soccer is my thing. So I reached out to them and was like, hey, I know I've played with you guys a couple of times. Is there any way I can become involved in this? And we've kind of just hit the ground running ever since. This is year 4 now, so we're really excited for this upcoming season.
Yeah, and just to jump into that next question, then, how does FC Monmouth for you as a general manager work in an all-year aspect? Because I was very shocked when I joined, and I saw you working, past the season, before the season. It really never stopped. So, can you just talk
Yeah.
about that and what it entails?
Yeah, so I mean, everybody really just kind of sees the whatever it may be, your May through July, but it's really whenever August hits, we're still going. So August is planning for April of the following year, which seems crazy to talk about, but it really is. I mean, we're pretty much like very deep in the processes of getting ready for this upcoming season, and it's something that I'm really excited for. So, I mean, it's really in my day to day, everything from managing partnerships, player relations, talking with coaching staff, owners. Budget obviously is very big in any team, organization, things along those lines, making sure we're on track and really just trying to get the name out there as much as we can. So we really have an awesome environment that I think not enough of Monmouth County is seen yet. So I really want people to be involved this summer, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So speaking of like next year, what's in stock for next year for FC Monmouth? What do you anticipate happening? Think we're gonna win a championship?
This year, it's going to be here before you know it.
Oh,
I
this year,
mean,
yeah.
we're I think what was it a couple days ago from this being recorded, we're 3 months away, which seems insane to me, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously like every year, roster changes up a little bit. We're gonna have definitely some strong guys returning, but we're changing things up a little bit with the roster. John, our head coach, he's going into year 3, so we're really excited to see what he's gonna do this year. And then really, it's just trying to not so much expand, but to maximize the experience with what we're able to do for our fans. So really, I think this year is a year of trying to make the most of the 5 home games that we get, and to really make a memorable experience for people right at the Jersey Shore. I mean, it's really a peak time to be in New Jersey. I'm a Jersey until I die, although I may be a New England resident currently. But yeah, so we're really excited for it this summer.
Yeah, and you mentioned the roster, and with Jackson Lions, right across the street pretty much, and then you get FC Motown, and so many teams in New Jersey, really, even with USL League 2, which is a whole nother story, a whole nother league. How do you go about recruiting talents, and then from there, keeping these talents to stay in Count Basie for FC Monmouth?
Yeah, totally. I think it's really just promoting the environment. So we're pretty unique in terms of what we offer. There's in our conference and in our friends at the USL2 teams that are also in New Jersey, everybody has very talented rosters. I like to argue that our NPSL division is the best division in the country by a mile, probably, I'd say. And that's including if you throw in the Keystone West as well with your Westchesters and everybody else over there of the worlds. So, I mean, obviously, it's very tough to compete year in and year out. I always like to say your competitors bring out the best in you. So, we love having them around. I mean, it's only going to make everybody else in the league better. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, getting back to environment, we feel like we differentiate ourselves from not just being a team with a strong roster and that we offer a lot more. You go around the NPSL, you go around USL too, at least just in this area. There's some teams that do a very good job around it, around the country, but particularly in our area, I feel like we really do offer the best game day atmosphere for not only just the players, but the fans, and whether it be the players' families that are attending games, we really do a great job of that, and that sets us apart from the pack. So, that's some things I like mentioning to guys that are thinking about coming back, guys that are thinking about joining. And it really is more than just practice. So, I mean, there's different experiences that we like to throw in with our guys. We went soccer golfing last year on an off day. We had a beach practice last year that unfortunately got rained out, so we weren't able to host that. But those are just some small little things that we have on the cards. We're very lucky to have some awesome partners that are able to provide us with team dinners, things along those lines. This year, we're having extra practice sessions indoors as well with our good friends at Home Turf. So they have a really incredible facility right in Monmouth County that we're very grateful to be able to use this year as well. So that's another thing that we're just trying to get out to people and be like, hey, this is something that you're really not going to find anywhere else, and this is what we've got. So between all of that and just really the game day atmosphere that you can't really find anywhere else in the area, we're hoping to have a really strong team this year.
So James, like, what is the NPSL? So, like, for anyone that just doesn't watch FC Mom, doesn't even know what the NPSL is, what is it?
Yeah. Yeah. So the way I like to describe it to people is it's your minor league baseball of the world. So although we're very different from, let's say, your Lakewood or Jersey Shore Blue Claws, we're right down the road. So it's a very sort of relevant comparison, I guess I'd say, that we can give. Um, we are not completely professional, so we do not pay our players. These guys are not paying to play as well, which is another big thing that I like to incorporate because not a lot of people know that. There's a lot of teams where these college guys, they have to come home and they're still expensed to be able to play after they have their entire youth careers. So for a college person, that's really tough. So we're proud to say that we're able to offer a free experience as well. But yeah, NPSL, you're looking at the highest division of semi-professional soccer in the U.S., according to USASA, which oversees all of amateur soccer. So we're really proud to say that, and we're proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's a really great league, great structure and everything, super well organized. And as you mentioned, I think a couple comments ago, but the Keystone is definitely the best conference with FC Motown. They're great. The Lions are great. FC Monmouth is great. So many great clubs, Westchester as well. And now you mentioned the Blue Claws, and Ryan Howard's one of the guys. I don't know if you guys are baseball guys, but he's really gone into the major leagues, had a great career. I think recently for FC Monmouth, we've had one of those guys in Conor Kelly who went to England. He actually had to leave FC Monmouth early to depart and try out for a few teams there. So can you just talk about Conor Kelly's story and just how cool it is that a guy that was just playing for FC Monmouth a couple months ago all of a sudden is one of the biggest underdog stories in all of soccer?
Yeah, so basically at the time of this recording, about a week ago, Connor and his team, Maidstone United, they ended up winning a fourth round upset of the FA Cup. So for those of you that don't know, the FA Cup is the biggest domestic competition in soccer in the world, essentially. And Connor's team is in the sixth lowest division in England, and they just beat one of the top second division teams in the country. So it was really a huge feat. And Connor was literally just playing with us around 7 months ago. So it is crazy to say that. And I think now, as the time of this recording, he's one of four Americans that are still left in the competition, which is really awesome to say. We're extremely proud of him, and it's just crazy to think that somebody that just lives right down the road from all of us is now making an impact on like one of the world's biggest games, essentially. So.
Yeah, and how did that transfer work? Because I remember you talking about that and Connor going over
Yeah,
there. Is it like a FIFA type transfer, FIFA like transfer in the video game itself too? How did
yeah.
that happen?
It's really cool of something to be a part of. I mean, I guess I could say that's probably the coolest experience I've been a part of in terms of a transfer so far. We've had a few. Shout out to Ersin Gerbeshi as well, playing in Spain right now. He was another one. But basically, when these guys are leaving for free, obviously we're not going to be charging a team for their services. But you just have to give like a release statement to the team and to make sure that the league's FA, so Footballing Association, is okay with the transfer. So there's a lot of talks between current NPSL, US Soccer, then you have the English FA involved, and then obviously the team that he's going to involved. So the really funny thing with this was I think that I always say I was in the middle of like a class, and obviously there's the 5 hour time difference there. So it was only the afternoon here, and he was over there getting close to midnight, and they were reaching a deadline, and he's just calling me on the phone. He's like, "We got to get this through. Like, I need this paperwork, yada yada yada." And I'm like, "I'm in class. You got to give me a little bit of time, and I'll get it to you." But it all ended up working out, and that first weekend that he needed to get it crammed in by, they ended up getting it in. And I recall he played like the full 90, and they won that game. So he's doing really well over there so far, it seems like, and we're happy to see that for sure.
And speaking of some transfers, I know you're a big Red Bull guy. What do you think about this season? You think Emil Forsberg is a good signing for him? You think that we should have signed maybe a couple more players? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I've been watching the Red Bulls as long as can be, and they're similar to us in that I think it's kind of like still a sleeping giant. I mean, if you just look at the attendance numbers, there's really an opportunity for growth there still. That's such an untapped market in New Jersey. Um, they've got a really strong squad. I mean, Forsberg is obviously an incredible signing. You could argue that he's still in his prime. I mean, in the last game of the season that he played with Leipzig, he bagged the goal. So, I mean, he was still scoring goals in the Bundesliga. So, it's a really great signing to have. But the Red Bulls still have a DP slot open, so they still have room to sign a big player. I'd really like to see them make another big move before the start of the season. And I think they could really make some noise if they end up doing that.
You think Luquinhas is like, you think that's a big loss, and you think that Forsberg can fill that hole? Especially
I
also
think,
after
yeah,
losing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think Forsberg is definitely capable of it, but I still think they're missing something because
Hmm.
if you look at last season, they were missing something. So if you subtract one and add one, you're still at sort of pretty much the same state. So there still has to be improvements on their end, I'd say, in terms of the roster, but it's definitely looking promising for sure.
And last question, but do you think Dante Van Zier can reach his full potential? We know he was Golden Boot winner out in Belgium right before he came. Didn't really do anything last season. He had like 3 goals. Do you think he can reach his potential this year?
Yeah, I think a lot of what the Red Bulls were missing last year was production, really. When you look at the chances created, it's tough in the formation that they played. It was a really tough system to try and really get him the ball, I would say. And this went for every single forward they had. You look at the Charlotte game in the playoffs, and they just created so many more chances. And Elias Manuel is another great player, and
Manuel legacy game.
yeah, yeah, it was awesome to watch. So he took advantage of those chances. So these guys are extremely high quality players, and I think they're very capable of taking these chances. I think they just need someone to get them the ball, essentially. So
What's like your favorite game you've ever watched Red Bull Grand? Because mine is that Charlotte game where Manuel scored the hat trick. That was like the
yeah.
first Red Bull playoff game I've ever been to. No, second, because first one was against Cincinnati. We lost. The second
Mhm.
one was that game. That was my favorite.
In person or just watching
In
is the question.
person.
In person.
Hmm.
1,000,000% went down to DC for DC away. It was Audi Field's home opener of that, and then Red Bulls took them on. I always used the Red Bulls as a good excuse for my parents to be able to check out colleges with me when I was younger. I was like, oh, we need to go look at schools in Washington, D.C. Oh, by the way, the Red Bulls are playing DC United that weekend. Oh, can we go? So I went with my dad, and it's downpouring rain. There was a rain delay. It sucked. Everybody was still standing out there. If you've ever seen Audi Field, there's zero coverage, so you're just kind of out there. And once it finally started, 2 minutes into the game, Bradley Whit Phillips scored his 100th goal for the team, and he took off his shirt and it had the number 100 on the back, and it was so cool. And they pretty much, from what I can remember, I think it might have ended 1-0. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we won
yeah,
that game.
yeah, they pretty much like parked the bus, and it was such a sloppy game the entire rest of the game. But that was an awesome memory for sure.
Classic Chris Armas parking the bus.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and just to pivot back real quick before we do some rapid fires into you with FC Monmouth and just you as a person getting into the real world, so to say, now that you're in graduate school at Rhode
Yeah.
Island. So, firstly, I had two questions for you in this. One, why do you love FC Monmouth and just what keeps you coming back, so to say? And then, secondly, what are your career goals and aspirations as you graduate school and get into the real world of sports management?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll just start with some background first. I probably should have at the start, but I went to UMass Amherst for my undergrad. Very awesome school, an incredible experience that I had there. People always ask me, "Oh, do you regret not going somewhere else?" Or because I only had 2 years in person because of COVID, yada yada yada. And I'm like, no, I 100% enjoy my experience there. It was awesome. The department there is incredible, and they really do prepare you to be involved in things like this. Now I'm currently very blessed to be in the position that I'm at, that I'm currently working for the University of Rhode Island while pursuing graduate school. So it's a great opportunity, and it gives me flexibility to still be involved in things like this. So the current position I'm in is a 2-year position, and then we'll kind of see where I end up after that. But yeah, I mean, just with the team, it's really just a passion. I mean, people will ask me sometimes. They'll be like, "Why do you do this?" And I'm like, I just enjoy it. I look back on the Union game last season. I'll just never forget it. We scraped out a goal down a man and pretty much just threw 10 guys back and parked the bus the entire rest of the game. And I'm biting my fingernails, my hands are shaking, but we pulled it off. And I look in the crowd, and my family's there. Some of my friends were visiting me from college that I was roommates with, and it was my 21st birthday. It was just an awesome experience. So it's moments like that that you're able to see things that you do come full circle, and to provide an experience for everybody else that's involved. It really, I don't want to get mushy and say like heartwarming, but it's a heart tingling kind of feeling, I'll say. So, but yeah, I mean, I've got just over a year left before a little bit of a pivot when I'm done in the Northeast. I definitely think I'll be out of the Northeast, being honest, but I honestly don't know yet. Time there's a lot of things that could happen between now and then. And in this time in undergrad, when I had a little bit over a year left, I definitely would say that I wouldn't think I would be here at this point. So I honestly can't tell you. I know it'll definitely be something soccer related, but we'll end up seeing how that plays out for sure.
Yeah, well, you're very organized. One thing I know, and like I'm sure whatever you do, you'll be great at. And then also, it's just funny, like FC Monmouth too, because I was thinking about this myself. I was actually at the gym, Planet Fitness, and
You got the new one in Ocean?
no, one in Wall actually, right near Aldi and Whole Foods. But there's a guy named Louis Cajas there, and I had like these tight beats on pretty much. I couldn't really hear anything, and I could see this guy's trying to talk to me. I'm like, "What's up, man?" And he's like, "You play for FC Monmouth?" I was shocked he even said that. I don't really look like much of a scary guy, but I was like, "No, I announce the games. I don't play." But then he just went on, and nice guy, but for like 10 minutes about all the guys he knows, like Brett Sieg. He actually played at Brookdale and played against Monmouth and tried out for FC Monmouth. Went to the, I think, final tryouts, but that was kind of like the first time I think I ever felt famous in a sense where he's like, I actually have heard you announce. I watched the games before. I was like, thanks, man. Like, that's sick. But yeah, it's really cool. Like, it kind of brings everybody together in a sense with soccer in Monmouth County, which is something I think that obviously Lucas's dad too with Asbury Park FC has done.
Holy.
Shout out Sean Francis.
Yeah, shout out Sean Francis.
Wow,
But
big shout out.
it's really great to see. And yeah, now from the sentimental stuff, Lucas got some rapid fire silly questions here. So
I want to touch on that real quick because
Yeah, sure.
I've got a funny one with that too. I think I've got two on that. The first time that ever really happened to me too, when I had that moment, it was kind of like a full circle thing. It was the beginning of last season, and it was actually getting back to Conor Kelly. The one of the pictures we posted on Instagram, you can go take a look at it of him recently. He's holding like this little trophy, and it's got Hubba Bubba gum in it. And basically, I told the guys when we went soccer golfing that you would get a trophy or a prize of some sorts if whoever won, but I wasn't telling them what it was. So Connor ended up winning. Essentially, I didn't have something to give them yet when they won, and I needed to get these guys something because I did promise them that, and I always uphold my promises. So the next day we have practice, and I need to get Connor something. He's like, "Oh, I'm so excited for whatever you got for me," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I just left it in my car, yada yada yada." So I'm at the dollar store, and this was right before he was about to leave. So I knew he was getting on a flight. What do you need when you're going on a flight? Gum. It helps with your ears or whatever when you're going up. So I threw that in a little chalice or whatever you want to call that, and that was his gift. But I'm in the checkout line and I'm wearing the stuff because I'm about to go to practice, and this little kid is like, "Oh my God, do you play for FC Monmouth?" Blah 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 blah. And I'm not gonna sit there and explain to him what I do. He was probably like 6 or 7, but I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. You should come out to the game this weekend." And he was so excited. He thought he met an FC Monmouth player, and that really made my day. And then that was really the first time that happened. That was last spring. And then coming home in October from the NPSL conference. So I had a red eye coming out of Sacramento where the conference was held in this past October, and I had a layover from Newark Airport to get back to Providence, Rhode Island. And I'm at this point, I'm like probably 8 hours, 9 hours into travel. I'm just so tired. I want to get on this last plane. I'm in the home stretch. And I get off the plane, context, I'm wearing FC Monmouth stuff. And this guy, we're in Newark Airport of all things, and one of the guys working security, he's like, "Oh my God, do you play for FC Monmouth?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." Like, I was just coming from our conference for the year, and I was just like, I wanted to talk to him so longer, but I was gonna miss my flight, so I couldn't. But I told him to come out to the game. I wish I got his name or something, but that was just an awesome story too. So I really do believe that it is growing, and I'm happy to hear that you share that story as well because that's awesome to hear, Chris.
Yeah,
Totally.
hopefully some more on the way.
I got
Yeah,
recognized.
totally.
I got recognized as the guy that throws the balls in the crowd, the broken
There you
wrist.
go.
Good
That's
job.
a
I got
good one.
recognized as that at work one time. All right, so rapid fire questions, James. What's your favorite team outside of soccer?
Outside of soccer, or
Outside
can
of
I say
soccer.
outside of?
You can
Okay.
say in soccer and outside of soccer if you want.
I'll go both. So, just a little bit about me. Had a little bit of a stayover in Portugal when I was younger, so a couple months, and used to live right outside of Porto in Vila Nova de Gaia. And so FC Porto is my big team in Europe. I don't have a Prem team. I don't have anything like that. No bandwagoning here, but that's my favorite soccer team outside of the U.S., outside of your Red Bulls and FC Monmouth. But um, outside of soccer, I'm a Knicks fan till I
So,
die. I mean, I've been suffering for years,
tough loss
and
last night.
Did they lose
yeah,
to
I know.
LeBron?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is right after the Lakers game last night, so that was a brutal one. When you don't score 7 points for the last,
Yeah.
or you don't score for the last 7 minutes of the game, you're probably not going to win.
It's a good run
So
though. 9 wins in a row.
um,
Can't complain.
yeah, so we pretty much just hit the peak of this season, and
Yeah.
it might go all the way downhill from here. But my bar is still very low. But I honestly can say, aside from the 2012 year with Carmelo Anthony, this is probably the best team I've ever seen in my lifetime. So I don't have enough money to afford the $500 last row of the Garden tickets, but if they do win a championship, I will be in the streets of New York celebrating for sure. So,
All right, who's your favorite athlete now? We already did the favorite team. Who's your favorite athlete?
oh, 100% Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, it
Ooh.
has to be 100%. So,
So do you
I'm
think he's
I'm
the GOAT?
oh 100%.
The,
Yeah, Portuguese till I die. He's the greatest goal scorer
I
of
could
all
go on
time.
about this for a while, but I always thought
Yeah.
that too. Growing up, I'd get like the Ronaldo haircut, the jerseys,
Yep, I had it too.
yeah, and I was a huge Ronaldo fan. But ever since like Messi, of course, won the Ballon d'Or, World Cup, I think that just cemented his spot in as the GOAT. And there's no debating it now. I feel like, and now that Messi came to MLS, I have a soft spot for him. Anybody that
I
loves
don't,
the United States,
I don't know. I think the media has given Ronaldo a little bit of
they
a
have,
punch.
they have. He's a good
It's
guy. I mean, but
yeah,
he's
totally.
acted like a
So,
villain. But I don't know.
but he is my pick for that for
Yeah.
sure. We could have a whole nother podcast
Yeah,
arguing
maybe we
that.
definitely could go into it. An hour long podcast.
We're gonna start fights if we
Yeah.
do that debate. All right, what's your favorite movie to watch? Let's say you're taking a red eye from Sacramento all the way to the Newark airport. What are you watching?
I'm not much of a movie guy, and I'll get some hate for that, but I'm really big into documentaries, and then even like if I'm to read, which is not very often, I'm very into biographies. So the my answer, which familiarly to this, I was just watching Gio Reyna do his little like interview with Nottingham Forest, and he had the same answer as me, the new Breakpoint season. So on Netflix, I've never played tennis like very good outside of like a gym class, but I follow it a decent amount, so it's awesome to watch.
So this leads us into the next question then. What's the favorite TV show besides Breakpoint,
Yeah.
like you already said?
Besides Breakpoint, I was big on. Oh God, I forget what it was called. There was another show on Netflix, but I'll just piggyback off of that and say their World Cup doc that they recently.
That was
You know what's
on
good too is
Netflix.
The PGA one's really
Yeah,
good too. Full
the
swing.
PJ one as well, Full Swing, another
Yeah,
good
I'm a
one.
big
Yeah,
fan of
they're
that
all
one.
really good. So I mean, Netflix is really transitioning into sports. They have now whatever they're gonna do.
Or they
They're
got
doing
With
WWE too,
WWE
for like
too.
$5
yeah,
billion dollars.
WWE exactly. And I mean, they're moving
I
in
know.
right down the
It's gonna be
right
big.
at Fort
That's
Monmouth.
gonna be
So
the front of the kit sponsor. You might be
yeah,
gone by that. We might all
so
be gone.
You get Netflix as a kid
2030.
sponsor?
we need some Wrexham at FC Monmouth if we can get
We
a next.
could. Think
All
about
or
it, right around the
nothing.
corner.
All or nothing.
Pretty
FC
cool.
Monmouth.
I don't know if they'd want to do a doc about me. I don't know if that would get many hits, but
Just have John yelling in his accent.
yeah, yeah, that would get some clicks for sure.
All right. So speaking of the PGA Netflix series, who's the best golfer on the team?
Best golfer on the team.
Don't
Ooh,
spare
this
anyone's
is a
feelings. Nothing.
this is a hot topic. Um, I wish I could say myself, but I'm an honest Abe, and from our roster last year, it was undeniably Brett Sieg. Brett is a very good player. I haven't gone out for a round with him in a while, but outside of him, it's kind of like him up here, and then everybody else in the pack is kind of close. So your second, third, fourth is a very heated debate currently. So I'll save the Reeses and the Masons, the Johnny Troianos. They all get very heated over this argument, but I will say that I'm up there as well.
Reese just looks like he would be good. I don't know if it's just like his British accent or what, but he just looks like he would be good.
Don't tell him that to his face; it'll go straight to his head.
All right. So who's winning the chicken fight? David on Mason's back, or Johnny on Reese's back?
I think the answer with this has more to do with the bottom than the top. I mean, you just said Reese doesn't look like he's much of an athlete, but he really does pull it off on the pitch.
He
But
has a sleeper
uh,
build.
yeah. I don't think he could do it though in a pool if you get a chicken fight going. I think Mason's got beat there, and then uh, Johnny can do all he wants at the top, but if your bottom falls, I think it's got you beat. So I got to take Mason and Davy for sure.
And now, to piggyback off of that, what's your favorite memory thus far in your 4.5 years with FC Monmouth?
Yeah, I think I touched on it earlier with the Philly game. That was kind of like a really emotional one for me. Another story I could just touch on is the first season that I worked. I mean, it was literally just like I showed up, I did whatever they needed. Coach Brian Woods was the head coach, Woodsy, so he's over at Real Central now. Our friend's over there, so he's doing great things. But we had a very good squad that year, and we snuck into the fourth spot of the playoffs. We were the last seed, and we were going into a Westchester game that nobody thought we were going to win. I will admit, looking back on it, we got a little lucky. They also had a USL2 playoff game on the same day, but they still put out a very strong lineup, and we weren't expected to do anything. And we scored pretty early, and then we got another one like right after, and we ended up winning 2-0. And I just remember that drive home. I mean, any drive to the Delco area just
It's a
sucks
far
in
one, yeah.
general, but it was an awesome car ride home. Just being like, wow, we really just did something incredible, and we almost pulled one off against Motown. So hit the post in the conference final, and then they came right back down the field and scored, and they won that one 2-0. So. Um, I can't leave until I grab more than 1 point off of Motown, I think. So we'll see this year, but there's some great people up there too that I definitely want to get some points off of this year.
It's my biggest goal too. Watching this team since the very beginning of FC Monmouth, like the amount of times you come close too, it's so frustrating.
It's heartbreaking
It
to be
really
honest
is.
with you. We've been up 1-0. I mean, and then they'll bring it back, or we pulled off a draw on some very short numbers 2 years ago when they won the championship. We were one of two teams to
I
take
remember
points
that.
off
Yeah,
of them all season of however many games they played, 15 or 16,
it's
17
impressive.
games. So they went undefeated, and we were one of two. So it is very doable. It's a full 90-minute sweat, as it is for every game. The NPSL, the beauty of it is that it's really up for grabs from anybody. It's just who wants to put in the hard work and the effort and the sweat for those 10 games, because it really is a grit. And
That's the
I
best
love
part.
it because
That's
yeah, I love it because it really does show who is on top and who's willing to put it all
That's the
on the
best part
line.
about just American sports in general. It's even if you
Yeah,
look at MLS, every year it's a different winner. You might have like
fully.
Toronto winning it 2 years in a row, but it's not like the Prem where Man City's winning 3 years in a row. Bayern Munich's won the league.
we got the Chiefs now,
Well,
unfortunately, with Pat
Yeah, yeah.
Mahomes. But
I'm a
And
Chiefs
that it's
fan.
even it's even game by game too.
yeah,
I mean, I look back again. I'll reference the Union game. My friends would tell me they're all soccer guys, so they understand the game. They weren't really just coming to watch. They really wanted to see the team play, and they were like, "Oh man, even before that red card, you guys were down in the mud. Like I really thought you guys were gonna get smoked." And we turned it around, and it really is anything can happen, and we've been on the bad side of it as well. So I mean, there is so much parity in this league, and it provides a lot of great entertainment for people who do love watching soccer at the local level.
So the moral of the story is that pork roll's better than cheesesteaks, basically.
Oh, 100%. Totally.
Do you call it pork roll or Taylor ham?
It's 100% pork roll. I will live and die by that hill. If I'm ever back in the area, whether it be the summer or not, I always go to my friends at Slater's Deli over in Belford, New Jersey. So they'll throw a ton of pork roll on your egg and cheese, and they will set you up. So it's if your stomach's able to handle it, definitely make a trip there for sure.
yeah. And finally, for these rapid fire questions, I actually think I live closest to the beach here, Wall Township, pretty close to Manasquan and Belmar. But what is your favorite spot to hang out at the Jersey Shore during the summer months?
Yeah, I mean, if we're considering the bay, the beach, I think
Okay.
I've got you beat there. So I'm literally right down the road. But yeah, favorite beach. I mean, you can't beat Seabright. That's kind of my go-to. I love Donovan's. Donovan's is awesome. It's a great place. And then all the Seabright goers, they know of trade winds. If you're trying to sneak on to a good spot that's free, trade winds is your spot. And then there's some little side roads that if you get lucky enough to get a spot, you can walk on for free as well. But we need we need more free beaches in New Jersey. I'm a very heavy advocate for that. I never really was much of a beach person growing up, and now I love it. Even in my time at UMass, I remember I showed up in the first day and I'm looking at my freshman year roommate. I'm like, "Where's the nearest beach?" And he's like, the Cape is like 2.5 hours away." And I'm like, "What?" But now in Rhode Island, I mean, I'm right back to being pretty much like 5 minutes away, and I love it so much. So I can't wait for summer, whether it be the beach or FC Monmouth or anything. I'm really excited to get back to it. So
Yeah, it's the one thing about being like the late bloomer. I'd always be getting in for free, Oh, I'm 12 when I was really like 15, but now I grew like 6 inches in the past year or so, so I can't do that anymore. It's really annoying, but
that's a good problem to have.
yeah,
But
I guess so. It was a tiny bit.
Puxatawny Phil said we're getting some better weather on the horizon too. So
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to
yeah.
that.
Well, I don't know how much I believe that little squirt
The
nowadays.
39% accuracy rate.
Plus is yeah, but yeah, without further ado, I think that's all we had for you, James. And I don't know if you have any closing remarks or anything you want to say, maybe to inspire people to come out to games. But we do really appreciate
Yeah.
you coming on.
Yeah, totally. I appreciate you guys having me. It's always great to be able to talk about these things and kind of just talk about everything Monmouth County. I mean, we really are in a very fortunate situation to live where we are. I'd argue it's one of the best places in the country, even though I really haven't been to many others. But yeah, the Jersey Shore really is magical over the summer, and I would encourage anybody who is around that is looking to support a local team and to find something to get behind. We really are just more than a soccer team. It really is an experience, and I would invite anyone out, whether you are trying to play, come to our open tryouts on March 10th, or if you want to support. We have season tickets. We're very fortunate to be able to offer ticket prices at something that's a lot cheaper than your average sporting event. So, and we're working with a lot of local partners, a lot of local people in the community to be able to offer different experiences to different groups as well. So I definitely hope to see whoever's watching this out at a game this summer.
Yeah, well, the TSC Futsal League will be there at least, 52. I'm thinking hopefully at least 25 of them, half of them will show up. I think they will, especially once you throw the word free in there. I think they'll grab
Get
it.
them in
But
the too. Get them going.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
and
sure, exactly. I will.
I want to see Tristan O'Neill shirtless with a flare.
You don't want to see that, but yeah, James, thank you so much again, and I wish you the best luck with everything. And for everybody watching, make sure to go follow FC Monmouth on social media. Buy the tickets at fcmonmouth.com, and without further ado, we will see you